explainer. We're tackling something really tough today, something that honestly hits close to home for way too many parents. So, what do you do when you realize a teacher is bullying your gifted child? And let's be clear, this isn't about tough love. No, this is a harmful pattern of behavior. And today, we're going to walk through a very clear step-by-step action plan designed specifically for parents in South Africa.
Just let that quote sink in for a second. If you've ever heard a comment like this or anything that made your stomach just drop, you are not imagining things. You're not overreacting. This is a real quote from a real South African classroom. It's public shaming, it's incredibly damaging, and it's a serious problem that we have to address head on.
So, to fight this, first, we've got to understand why it happens. A lot of the time, the root of the issue is something called the authority paradox. Basically, you've got a teacher who feels like their authority is being challenged by a child who just thinks differently or asks those really probing questions. And instead of embracing it, they misuse their power, sometimes without even realizing what they're doing. Let's be crystal clear on what we're talking about here. This is not just a teacher being strict. It's an exploitation of power. It's using authority to shut down a child's unique way of thinking, of learning, of questioning. And the consequences of that? Well, they can be absolutely devastating, both academically and emotionally. Now, this is where things get really twisted, and it's so important to understand. A gifted child's greatest strengths can get dangerously misinterpreted. That intense questioning, it's seen as defiance. Finishing work quickly? Oh, they're not smart, they're just showing off. And that deep, passionate reaction to injustice, it gets dismissed as them just being disruptive. It's wild, isn't it? Their absolute best qualities are flipped on their head and treated like behavioral problems. Okay, so you suspect this is happening. Your first instinct might be to pick up the phone and give the school a piece of your mind. But hold on. The most important first moves you can make don't start at the school. They start right there in your own home. The focus has to be on protecting and empowering your child first. This is it. This is everything. Before you do anything else, you have to communicate to your child without any doubt that you believe them completely. Gifted kids can internalize rejection so intensely, so making sure they know you are in their corner and you are going to act, well, that's the foundation for everything that comes next. And wow, do your words matter in this moment? We need to avoid responses like just ignore it because that just minimizes their pain, or you need to fight back, which puts all the burden right back on their little shoulders. Instead, just look at the difference here. You validate them. You create a safe space. And honestly, those 5 words, "we'll handle this together," might be the most powerful thing you can say. All right, once that trust is established, you can move into these support actions. First, you just listen. You ask those open-ended questions to get the facts without leading them. Then you help them build skills. You can even role-play a calm, assertive response, giving them a script they can use. And of course, you've got to keep a close eye on their mental health. Watch for any changes and be ready to get professional help if you see them struggling. And please remember this, you are not alone. If your child is in real distress, help is available right now. This number for Childline South Africa is free, it's confidential, and you should not hesitate for 1 second to use it if you need to. Okay, your child feels safe, they feel supported. Now we move to the next absolutely critical phase. It's time to forge your most powerful tool in this entire fight, and that tool is your documentation. I really cannot say this loud enough. Your feelings are real, your child's pain is real, but to a system, to a school, that can all be dismissed as subjective. Documentation is the non-negotiable step that turns emotional pain into cold, hard, irrefutable facts. It is your shield. Without it, your complaints will go nowhere. So your case file has to be meticulous. Start a running log today. Every incident, you write it down. Date, time, the exact words used. Note who was there and how your child reacted. Take pictures of torn assignments or unfair marks. And here's a really powerful strategy. Collect their old positive school reports and put them right next to the current one showing a decline. That contrast tells a story that's impossible to ignore. With your shield, your documentation all prepared, now it's time to engage the school system. But you have to do this the right way, professionally, strategically, and by following a very specific path. This right here is the ladder you have to climb. You cannot skip steps. You start with the teacher, framing it as a partnership to find a solution. If that fails, you escalate to the principal.
After that, it's the school governing body, or SGB, where you formally submit your case file. And only as a last resort do you go to the Provincial Department of Basic Education. Following this hierarchy is absolutely mandatory for your complaint to be taken seriously.
Now, here's how you frame it. When you talk to the school, you are not discussing a personality clash. You are reporting potential educator misconduct. You need to use that exact phrase. It's a formal breach of professional ethics, and it has real legal consequences under South African law. Using that precise language completely changes the conversation.
And remember, you've got a solid legal foundation for your case. The South African Constitution itself protects your child's right to equality and dignity. On top of that, the South African Schools Act mandates that every single school must have an anti-bullying policy. These aren't just suggestions, they are legally enforceable rights. Look, I know taking all these steps is incredibly hard, but your personal fight can actually have a much bigger impact. It can help create a safer, more understanding environment for all gifted children down the road. So if we zoom out, what's the real root of this problem? Well, this chart tells a pretty shocking story. Some studies show that as many as 84% of primary teachers in South Africa has zero formal training on the needs of gifted learners. You see, this isn't about blaming individual teachers. It's about a massive systemic training gap. And that's exactly why your advocacy is so vital. You can use your experience to be a catalyst for change. Push for the school's code of conduct to be updated to explicitly cover this kind of bullying. Urge the SGB to get mandatory training for all their teachers. Advocate for policies that don't just put up with gifted learners, but actually celebrate and challenge them. When you do this, you help make sure no other family has to go through what you've been through. So, in the end, this action plan is about so much more than just stopping a bad situation. It's about building a better one. By believing our children, documenting the truth, and demanding accountability, we don't just protect them. We help build schools where every child's intense curiosity is seen for what it is, a gift to be celebrated and nurtured.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.